Gaming, SKT going with standard. What does it all mean?
Yeah, exactly right. So let's hear from the fans as we get into game one. T1 fans in full voice here on a packed Wednesday afternoon, Papa Smithy. It doesn't seem to matter whether or not you're supposed to be still at work. The SKT fans always find their way into LOL Park.
There's just so many of them, Atlas. If you want an SK Telecom ticket, you have to get in early, and you got to get in fast.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the reality of that. That's a new Karma skin. I haven't seen this one, actually. Nuguri on the top lane, Karma. It's kind of a sad pick for me in that it fits his dominant laning phase style, but it's not a champion with the same 1v9 carry potential. It can do a lot of things, and it doesn't die a lot, but actually racking up the kills, which is usually a Nuguri special, might be more tricky. You know what we are going to rack up?
What's that?
The DAMWON Gaming side, gold, because we got double Kleptomancy going on, and it's a melee champion versus Karma, so yeah, he's going to be rich.
He is. Also going to have a whole bunch of mantras as well, as Ultimate Hunter was picked up in the secondary. That's an interesting one. Just making sure that he can weave in more empowered inspires that are buffed beyond recognition in this patch.
But it's not the usual Ultimate Hunter champion. Think of like Karthus, because he has a really long
It's a really weird ultimate to be buffing, right? Yeah.
Now, Ultimate Hunter was chain buffed a lot. I believe it's 25% ult CDR now. It used to be 15 at max stats. I think it's 25% now. It's buffed twice, so can be very powerful.
That's some value, Mata. Really
Tom Kench comes in again. Remember, the Tom Kench nerfs are even more severe on this patch. So Tom Kench now no longer spits you out as far away. So something like a Shockwave, if you're popping out, you're getting hit by it. So for AoE spells, that could be relevant. For safety, it's mostly about the disengage from the rift, so not as important there, but just another thing to add as we just try to find a way to bench that damn Tom Kench.
I know, we've been nerfing him over and over again. Another double's going to come down. That's just the pop. See you later, mate. Nuclear just standing too far forward, close to the wall, and that's only 200 health on the Tom Kench as well as SKT starting this one off real quick.
They just never got a way to contest this bush, and the kill actually registered. The Lux is always picked for lane dominance. Didn't see that one coming. SKT off to a hot start.
Yeah, really nicely done. And now Nuguri's feeling the pressure here to try and win out on this lane. Remember, Kleptomancy and the Mantra cooldown reduction stack really nicely here for the Karma. So you just auto-attack your lane opponent, and you get that Mantra back again as we're going to have a look at this one more time. And I feel like we may have needed to censor it.
Actually really, really poor laning because they died to a level 2 ping without rush control. So I think they just, unfortunately, they were kind of in no man's land where they weren't impacting the lane, they weren't contesting the bush, and then they died. At this level of play is unacceptable.
Yeah,
so
it's just basically doing nothing and dying. Right?
That definitely feels like a bit of, kind of the first game of the day vibe going on there. So DAMWON Gaming really need to level up from there because the Lux provides the lane dominance, and if Kalista gets to just hop mad aggressively, then they're just going to get dominated.
And also, I think that this is a great idea for SKT because they put a lot of early power in Teddy's hands, who has been arguably SKT's only consistent performer throughout the first 2 weeks of the LCK, and they give Mata a busted support. And so this lane is almost guaranteed to win, and you can see, I mean, benefit of hindsight is there, but they'd already laid the groundwork to get things going bottom side of the map.
While that's the glass half full, I kind of err on the other side of getting level 2'd at the professional level after you already took a bad trade and lost brush control. They kind of did everything wrong.
It shouldn't have worked this early. You're exactly right, yeah.
At the pro level, you should never be level 2'd like that. So really nicely played by SKT, and you just dunk the baskets, you get the chance to dunk, right? But
yeah.
It did feel like DAMWON Gaming kind of rolled over there, and now you just lose lane control against lane-dominant Lux, and that should mean turret plates, that should mean other advantages, and it's a really big confidence moment for an SKT on a losing streak.
Nuguri's going to throw a ward down. I believe he spotted that Clid just put that ward in there, so knows that the jungle is top side.
So the theory behind the draft from DAMWON Gaming, apart from just abusing a really strong champion in Karma, is that Karma's mid-game shielding and utility with a mid-game AD carry. Remember, Ezreal is here. The reason why I call him a mid-game AD carry in this game, it's not like he's weak late game by any means, is that he's going to hit a very cheap item point that doesn't require any babying, because you pick Ezreal Tom Kench to play topside with your jungler. Ezreal Tom Kench is supposed to be self-sufficient and always hit items on time. If that timing is delayed, if you're trying to group in the mid game and Ezreal doesn't have his items, or you have to actually play around Ezreal and the top side doesn't get gank assistance from Canyon, then you don't get turret dives from Karma. Then the Karma's adding utility to not enough damage on an Ezreal potentially, or an Akali if she falls behind. So if you don't hit your power spikes here, actually the whole picture falls apart for DAMWON Gaming, because they need the Karma to be enchanting, strong carries, and right now, Ezreal doesn't fall under that bucket.
Nope. He's 12 CS behind at the moment as he makes his way back to lane. Did manage to get the Sheen timing, but no Fairy Charm or anything like that to go along with it, and definitely no tier just yet as Clid going to find Canyon on a face check, gets a nice boop as Faker once more. Level 6 is here. He can flash for the Emperor's Divide, but Canyon is going to flash first and gets to the blast gun.
Smart delay on the flash from Canyon. He only flashed when he got into blast plant range. If you flash first, Azir joins you and you get killed. The Emperor's Divide available there. Really nice coordinated aggressive invade where Lux was able to make it the tipping point of a 3-man invade because the priority in bot side. Things really amping up around their advantage bot side. Good to see SKT converting on an early mistake from DAMWON.
They're also going to be able to get that early Ocean Drake, which is so much more valuable. Haven't seen too many earlier than 6.5 minutes so far in the LCK at least. So really nice work here from SKT to make sure that Faker and Teddy are going to stay up in that manner. I feel like Teddy can be throwing out those Rens more freely than he otherwise would. And Mata, so many more spells to get spammed in this lane. There's Nuguri in trouble. Infernal Chain's actually bringing him back, but Khan didn't want more.
Come on. Karma's never in trouble. If it's
I'm always excited about the potential of Karma dying, okay, Papa Smithy? I will always get excited about that.
I just think your analysis is in trouble around the Karma lanes, so we'll hold our breath on that one. We'll see the build, because it is a last chapter start. It's Kleptomancy, so we're not expecting a Twin Shadows kind of Glacial Augment style build. Yeah. So you would assume going into Ludens, right? But you could understand GLP. In the bot side, Clid looking for a turret dive here. BeryL and Nuclear have been down the entire time. Very suspicious place to throw the shielding, suggesting that there was going to be a turret dive.
Yep. But also worked out as a turret plate gank as well, because DAMWON had an idea that there was someone hanging around, and that means that SKT gets to walk up to the turret, and they're able to extend this lead on the bottom side of the map. And Clid, he ain't done yet.
On the camp here. Canyon's walking down, not in position just yet, but with his flash down, he's taking the most defensive way to the bot lane. Yeah, not being able to control this forward brush has just been ecstasy for Mata and SKT. It's caused all of the problems for Nuclear and BeryL.
Yep, Mata is just having the best time ever, lands another light binding. It hasn't missed too many, actually, as Teddy finds a really nice pierce. Gets the Rend on top of it as well.
Mata's gone for a non-standard rune choice in the Tahm Kench matchup. We almost always see Guardian in this matchup because Tahm Kench all-in as a support is very, very low. Very unlikely you're going to need the Aftershock. Will be useful if you can hit a binding on an Akali, but with how mobile everyone else is, this is one of the last games I would have thought Aftershock, because the chances of reliably proccing Aftershock both in lane and in team fights actually pretty low by the Lux's side.
I do like the value that you could get against something like an Akali that's trying to buff you. I mean, it might get a couple of rounds of spells out.
Are you hitting Q on Karma Shield speeded up Akali? If you are, you're a god.
That's true.
If you miss it, you're dead.
Well, we'll see whether Mata is going to survive as this game goes on. 800 gold the lead at the moment for SKT, largely stemming from the bottom side of the map. As you can see, it's 20 CS lead. The Teddy's managed to stretch that one too. Nuclear having to go back a couple of times so far, wants to get that tier stacking as quickly as possible.
And if Khan can go CS for CS with a Karma, that's basically winning lane, right? Karma will come out with more gold, but if a team fight top laner who excels in 2v2s plus, like the Aatrox goes CS for CS, he's perfectly happy. Turning onto the blue buff here, definitely one of the energy champions that is desperate to pick that one up.
Oh yeah,
is the Akali to try to match wave clear against someone like an Azir.
Who likes it more out of Zed or Akali?
I think that's a hard one. I would say Akali because she has a more spammable Q, but I feel like Zed feels way better.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the difference there. Top side, Karma's great with a gank. She can also be ganked. Getting her flash down, we will be able to relieve a lot of pressure, and Nuguri smartly isn't playing towards the lane brushes.
Well, Clid is going to set up shop here as Nuguri moves in, thinking about trying to catch this wave, but he doesn't need to just yet. Clid walks out. I believe a A lot of information was gleaned from DAMWON. You can see a lot of pings there. There's the final spark. Just wipes the floor with ShowMaker, but nope, the Sand Soldiers aren't enough. Second charge of the ultimate is going to get ShowMaker out of dodge.
It's awesome to see Mada spreading his lead on a ranged support. This is so normal for him on a Braum or on one of the engaged supports like Alistar. But seeing him be able to win lane from the level 1 mistakes into spreading his lead and blowing summoners on an Akali, ult and flash down now, really big for the mid lane, and it just means the Faker can do his job, get turret plates more reliably in the 1v1 in mid lane.
And that was just after a teleport as well, so really great timing as another light binding lands. Thankfully the buffering of the Arcane Shift is going to be there. Also the Devour now on cooldown. As BeryL, he's used his spellbook to get himself a cleanse and an exhaust for some extra 2v2 power. And they're going to need all of the 2v2 power that they can get on that bottom side. As Canyon clearing out some vision around this Rift Herald. Pings going down from Clid.
Cool control ward spot. We've been complimenting teams who aren't playing bot side, putting control wards in the back of the Drake pit, such that they're not spotted out until the enemy actually tries to take an objective against you. The spot there stops a ward hop over gank spot that we always see from Lee Sin's and stops a Rift Herald from being taken off spawn. So cool little control ward spot there that you might consider in high-ranked games against something like a Lee Sin that does some nice scouting. Speaking of scouting, Clid spent a lot of his time looking for kills on Lee Sin.
Yeah, and you can see he knew exactly what was going on. I've seen this one before as Runic Echoes was completed, deciding not to go too much further forward despite bottom lane rotating earlier. Scryer's Bloom is going to spot out what's going on, and this is why Clid didn't go all in, because they wanted to get themselves a Fiery Dragon.
You control that red side jungle. You control the Drakes and first spawn, Ocean into second spawn, Infernal. Sometimes a plan comes together. The plan nets them an Infernal. Nice Drakes there. And the third spawn will be another Ocean. Obviously, SKT would prefer another Infernal, but given the clock here, we could see a whole lot of Drakes. The Drake harem is going to be very large.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. SKT's bottom lane are pushing up. They're able to clear out whichever control wards they want. Lucent Singularity down there means the BeryL can't move forward. And Teddy's just eating plates, man. It's dinner time here, and even the crockery is up for grabs.
The LCK, we think of Lux like many people think of top lane Jace. You pick this champion and whatever the duo matchup, couple of turret plates almost guaranteed because of a lane domination. To also pick up 2 Drakes on the bot side that is stacking objectives bot side, and then Canyon's getting thrown out of his jungle. So Canyon's not even getting the turret dives top side that Karma usually provides, or for example, a Rift Herald. So SKT's just controlling everything on the map. And with Aatrox Azir teamfights coming, the outscale potential is real.
Yeah, it just feels to me like DAMWON was so thwarted after that 2v2 loss on the bottom side. Just hoping that they have more control down there. Looks like they are going to be able to go for a Shelly here as 5 members are in the area. Mada taking a fair bit of damage, but has himself his shield. As is Clid going to steal this? No, he's not. Final Spark does come in. It means the Akali's very low. Clid, though, has to go into his stopwatch. And the tether was there. Karma's going to pick up the first kill for DAMWON. And I believe they're able to get the Rift Herald. Canyon does indeed have that one.
Clid was the only frontliner present at the fight, and unfortunately they didn't really have a way to get him out. With Aatrox not there, no one else could threaten. And with no threat, they just turn on to Clid, who was looking for a teamfight start and also a contest on the Rift Herald. Not able to get either. This will be a last-second charge to get some gold from Nuguri.
Yeah, some more gold, because he probably is still ahead. Lucian's Echo now completed. He's ahead in CS, but has that Klepto, like we were talking about. And just as those plates fall off, goes in and grabs a couple. ShowMaker, very low here underneath this turret. Faker's been keeping up that harass very nicely. However, ShowMaker has just managed to stay up in farm despite having a low health bar throughout most of this laning phase. Let's have a look at this one more time.
And it's kind of been the dirty story, the dirty secret of SKT this season is Clid being out of step with the rest of the team. He's fishing very aggressively for a cask, and he doesn't have a Yasuo to instantly back it up. So that cask, if it gets the right ping, maybe it comes to the allies. If it doesn't go perfectly, he just dies and nothing comes of it. So really feels out of sync, and this is the guy that dominated the conversation, hard carrying an MSI.
Well, we'll see whether they can get back together, as right now it's a 100 gold lead for SKT. Still good news here for these guys, as the Rift Scuttle will go over to Teddy very simply. And Nuclear clearing out this minion wave on the bottom side of the map, but he's just falling further and further behind. Every time we check in with that CS, it's a few numbers bigger for the Kalista, who does now have The Blade of the Ruin King, True Shot Barrage, isn't going to connect with either SKT bottom lane member. And both of these AD carries looking for 2 items. Looks like Teddy's going to have his first.
Contest his second brush, gotta be careful. They've had a lot of war stories around this. DAMWON Gaming's draft is very interesting to talk about, even though it's a Karma draft, because Karma drafts are very narrow. Karma's supremely... Oh, that's Barrel's just being chased down here.
Yep, and that's going to be Fate's call. Final Spark comes in, and Mata just blows him up. Nuclear, does he have the Arcane Shift? I don't even know, as the Pierce does so much damage. Maxed first, of course, by Teddy, just really lighting them up. They will be able to take this bottom outer turret with Clid's assistance, but maybe even without it if he wasn't here. Nuclear has no right to be near it.
Welcome back. End of spring. Teddy and Mato dominating laning phase. In the mid lane, Canyon's trying to get on Faker.
Yeah, early flash there from Faker. Canyon not wanting to turret dive. Half the health bar on the Azir was too much for them to consider it.
We hyped up this Teddy Mata coming into MSI and didn't really see it in the 2v2s too regularly, so nice to see them actually on point with laning phases again. Topside Canyon finally linking with Nuguri. The point I wanted to get to is Karma is so strong at 2 items because of the amount of utility and base damage she does. But as the game goes on, the damage gets stopped by front lines or minions. You don't get to necessarily be a damage that you're just utility, and you need your carries to shoulder the load. We talked about how this comp is really powerful around 2-item Ezreal and Gunblade Akali. And it's supposed to be win early, dunk them early, and then with turret plates, with how much early gold there is, maybe it doesn't matter that there's no true late game. Because they were set behind, they're not even at 2-item Ezreal when the Teddy is actually going to get to a more expensive 2-item build really soon. But the point still stands relatively to the power curve of DAMWON Gaming. This is where they're around their relative strongest spot against SKT's draft. Can they find a way to wield that? Because if we get to 25 minutes and the game's still going, SKT should feel so confident.
Well, right now, Khan is feeling exactly that. Looks for it, gets it. That's going to be the 3rd Q for the kill, and Nuguri now finds himself a very angry Khan with World Ender activated. No fear of dying, and the Karma just has to leave the lane. Clid gets there in the nick of time, and another Drake will go to SKT.
It's another time that a duo lane member of DAMWON Gaming has been in the wrong spot one way or the other. It's turning into a cacophony of issues around the bot side.
A cavalcade of errors, one could say.
Indeed, many different ways, turns of phrases to talk about DAMWON Gaming's bot side here, because they've, you know, they're the 3 people that have died. They were put on a duo that's supposed to always be fine, and they're a long way from fine. Nuclear pretty far down the lane, but it's Ezreal. You assume he'll be fine. Kites upwards and tries to flash away. It's tricky, but Aatrox has no problem just sending him to the gray screen.
Yeah, it was pretty easy to get there as well as Teddy clears out this entire minion wave with that Pierce. Khan's going to die now. As, you know, you can make mistakes even on the winning side, as especially with Elise in. So that's going to get something back here for DAMWON Gaming. Whether they can actually get any notable leads, the Karma does now have some spare time with this outer turret on the bottom side of the map.
Tether range on the Karma, something to always take you down. This time Canyon in position. I believe the control wall didn't spot him early enough. It's an answering kill, but like we already mentioned, we're looking for DAMWON Gaming to kind of stake their claim now. So just a single kill on the bot side isn't going to do that. They really need a plan, and maybe we're getting to the point where they need to find a Baron plan, you know, pre-25 minutes. I think that's one of the ways you can blow a game open. It feels the comeback mechanics to Baron have never felt more unreliable. But getting that Baron Atlas, it's definitely going to be a work in progress.
Well, I mean, Nuguri is going to be able to take down another outer turret here for DAMWON Gaming. That's going to get them ahead in gold. 600 now is going to be their lead. I know it still feels like SKT are well and truly in control just with where they have all of their money on this map. You can see both Faker and Teddy have bounties. That looks like a winning SKT. As Nuguri just walked towards Khan and he died. That's basically how it worked.
Yeah, I mean, that was just not respecting Karma. Turns out he was clearly in vision, and then Lee Sin, when he came into vision, it was too late. The tether was already coming down. So weak side Aatrox play, you gotta be a lot more defensive than you would on previous Aatroxes because there's no note button, so he just dies. That's what we say about Aatrox. He just dies. It's kind of his thing there, but he also does a lot of killing later, so there's always a lighter moment.
And already did some killing earlier on, you know. Khan already got his highlight, so he may as well topple over after that, as we've almost got Ardent Sensor on Nuguri. And
I like this build. Luden's just for plop, this is massive damage, and then 2 cheap, very explosive mid-game items to win mid-game. And if the Ardent Sensor doesn't work, you get outscaled and lose is what you accept as part of the bargain. So, How can DAMWON Gaming make this happen? They need control wards around an objective and start and bait it. They have to be decisive. Remember, AoE shields mean that those Barons that without a tank are tricky are less tricky with a Karma, and the movement speed is there for the entire shield duration now. So there is a lot of utility power, and it's a utility build. Karma, if you go on this build, doesn't scale, but she's a goddess right now.
Yeah, and that Ardent Sensor being just completed is huge here for DAMWON. So 20 minutes into the game, and they have hit one of their power spikes that they needed early, and they've hit it earlier than they otherwise would. All of the kills for DAMWON, I know it's only 2, but both of them are on the Karma, and on patch 9.12, that means way more than it did last week.
But if they play side lanes, they risk not getting anything from it, and DAMWON Gaming are a when-in-doubt 1-3-1 team. They need to combine their powers now. The Karma hasn't built for lane. The Akali has gone normal build, but like we say, the onus on them to push it now. So if they just play this wide 1-3-1, it doesn't work. So I like seeing Karma leave already. She doesn't have a teleport. She needs to group to make things happen.
And I like this comp in a siege as well, so you may as well group her up, make sure they clear out these minion waves very effectively with the Luden's Echo on top of the queue, and then Nuclear can poke, and Nuguri can poke alongside him. Khan is here ready for some sort of flanking play, but you can see Vision is there for DAMWON. They're not going to get caught out of position at this point in time.
But going back to pick up minion wave, it looks like that grouping from the Karma does nothing, and it's still about kind of a minute 40 till the teleport comes up here.
Yeah.
Still a while, so... But now at least, every time SKT sees a reset and Karma's showing on a side minion wave, they feel great. They know they're stronger. In scenarios where the Karma isn't, they back away. As long as they keep up Baron control, so far, things completely on brand for SK Telecom T1.
Yep, just eating all of the minion waves. Teddy going back, looking to get another item here as well, and can get some utility in this build. You can see Hex Drinker now completed, and I was going to talk about this, Papa. Already, you were seeing SKT with a lot of damage in their builds, but they didn't have that utility just yet, which is why DAMWON were looking to try and force these fights. But now, Faker has his Banshee's Veil, Teddy has his Hex Drinker. They're getting ready to fight this Karma composition that is going to have a lot of that AoE damage and CC that can now be avoided.
Kind of need a Canyon pop-off kick, right, onto the Kalista frontline build is already done, with the Hex Drinker being the cheap solution to being able to frontline and deal with some of that Karma damage. Khan posturing here. It's only an Ocean Drake, but DAMWON Gaming know they need to fight, otherwise risk being outscaled. So we'll see if SKT gives them a fight.
It's also going to be the third Ocean Drake as well for SKT. This could be a lot of healing, especially around a Baron. It is going to be taken there by SKT. Clid very, very low. BeryL is going to get flashed out of there by Canyon to make sure he's not bopped back into SKT.
SKT get to eat their lunch and be able to take away something, even in a spot where they're fighting for an Ocean Drake.
Might even get more here as Faker has soldiers in the right positions. He's looking for it, doesn't actually find an opportunity for the Emperor's Divide, but I was waiting for it. He was looking like a sweeper there, but not able to get the housework done.
DAMWON Gaming have to pull back. Canyon loses Flash. Big winner there is Teddy. Doesn't have to worry about a kick Flash coming anytime soon. Still haven't found a way to start this Baron. We're still in a standstill. Look, it is first professional match day on this newly buffed Karma. We will see a lot of it in different roles. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised, but Clid actually even gets to do some guerrilla tactics and steal away. The red buff here.
Nuguri hadn't checked the icon, nope. I don't think, as he wandered past the pit. Faker clearing out minion waves, and when an Azir can happily move very close to where his outer turret used to be on the top side of the map as an Azir, it's a very good news story, even though the gold is absolutely tied up. The SKT Quadra Drakes coming in, and the vastly superior scaling composition. This looks like DAMWON is staring down inevitability in this particular game.
It also looks like an SK Telecom T1 feeling burdened, knowing they have to win today, really, to get their season back together, to get their fans' confidence in them brought back. And we loved their early game. But understandably, with their drafting...
Oh, good nice flash from ShowMaker there, but Faker shifting some sands pretty nicely.
The bread and butter of this draft, through multiple different metas, is we'll get there in the late game. We've got this as the game goes on. There were scenarios where SKT could blow open this game. The onus isn't on them outside of the emotional toll of the loss streak.
And at least they're not taking any pressure off, right? They're not making crazy plays or anything like that. The aggression isn't there like we were seeing in Kingzone versus Afrika. However, they're slowly but surely getting all of the pressure in the right positions for them to win this game.
Yep.
And that's the SKT we've grown to know and love. That's been the SKT that's been champions multiple times over the years. Is the SKT where it doesn't matter what crazy you throw at them, they're always able to do this.
We're waiting to see if any crazy is thrown right now because Mata is on the patrol.
I thought we were subbing out Khan.
Nope, not yet.
Okay, no crazy being thrown in the top lane for SKT just yet. As Khan is actually taking a lot of damage here in the mid lane, but the W not going to land, meaning Nukel is not going to pop it with his Arcane Shift. Anything like that, SKT now without a top laner as they look towards this Baron pit that does have a ward from DAMWON Gaming. So that was actually very effectual from DAMWON to weaken the top laner as Mata's back is also stopped, meaning that tempo advantage that SKT had, despite these being very small things, is actually good for DAMWON because they do stop some of the flow-on effects of the pressure.
And when you chunk out someone like Aatrox, the tempo does swift change to you. You get control of the game and the ability to make the next warding play, to start the next objective. So again, eyes peeled on this Baron. I think with a draft like this, at some point they're just going to run at the Baron, whether it's the smart decision or the enforced decision. So kind of waiting for that moment to be reached. SKT need to be on high alert. I think Karma with Ardent Sensor is a huge spoiler, that that's going to be the play at some point. Canyon backs away. They still haven't been able to clean this area. Clid is patrolling with the Predator active.
And it's just so hard as DAMWON to get anything done here as True Shot Barrage not even going to find Teddy as the Q lands, but Canyon's not wanting to kick back that Callista.
Control wards-wise, when it comes to contesting a Baron control, there's one on the Gragas, two on the Aatrox, but he's on teleport duty. So there's actually a bit of vision exhaustion on the SKT side. Do DAMWON feel strong enough to continue playing around the area? We're seeing a recall for another control ward from Canyon.
Well, Nuguri down here with a full minion wave to take care of. Does have himself another needlessly large rod. Should be a Rabbidan's Death Cap just to make sure that it scales as best as he can with the things like the shielding. You know, when you've got both utility AP ratios as well as damage AP ratios, it's always better to get flat ability power in order to make the most of it. So, might still see a Void Staff coming in as his final item, but Canyon going to have to use a control ward in order to get out of the way of this little gank attempt from SKT.
Shows that red side control is there for SK Telecom T1. Trying to chase onto Nuguri. Splashes up.
Yep. Spire comes in, gets the slow. Decent tether there onto Khan as he gets out of the Infernal Chains. We're not going to have any fun at all. On the bottom side of the map.
All right, here we go.
Someone's going to look for the Baron, though.
He knew it was going to come.
Yep, teleport's available here for Nuguri. This could be the best timing that DAMWON could have. Kali's still on the top side of the map, though, as Mountain Drake is what SKT have decided to take here at 28 minutes into the game, meaning that I believe 6 Drakes could be on the table for SKT this game. Next one going to be another Infernal, so good idea to take that mountain when they did.
Will 33 minutes be the guaranteed time code for action? Because so far, it has been a lot of posturing from DAMWON and SKT, knowing that they're in control, trying to always make the percentage play.
It's a little bit weird, though, watching DAMWON play this slow and reserved, we're going to wait for our moment style, when their moment's getting further and further away the longer the game goes.
I mean, the moment you lock in top Karma, you can't play the DAMWON gaming style of Nuguri in a side lane with kill pressure. And they've been beta testing other strategies. They had a win on the AP cannon initially at the start of last week, where we're like, wow, Nuguri picked a team fighter, one lane, and then spread his lead into a team fight, not normally the DAMWON gaming way. And then they actually played AP cannon, tried to play it for lane, and couldn't pull that off.
Well, Predator Gragas comes in, they get the ultimate out of ShowMaker. Continue.
So we've seen them try to new strategies around Nuguri, not just Fiora-style side push. This is even more on the needing to actually use the utility in a team fight. It's something they're working on, but it means their standard win condition is gone.
So far, it's really not working because it feels like they're trying to play half and half. It feels like they read the instructions, but still the muscle memory comes back.
You got to be all in or all out, Atlas.
Yep.
And does, as you say, feel like they're not committing. Speaking of committing, non-committal damage onto Clid.
Yeah.
Hooray for the Karma Q.
Yep, does a lot of damage there. Mantra'd up, but you'll expect that Mantra to be back off cooldown pretty quickly, especially with Ultimate Hunter there already built up. And I feel like this is sort of testing our Karma theories, as Khan's going to face check, gets tethered, gets over the wall, and is going to stop that one from happening, but a fair bit of damage, as Nuguri's also able to get some auto attacks in there. Get that Mantra off cooldown one more time, but you can see in the top left corner that cooldown is not high.
SKT, remember, they can turn off Baron. They have the secure always threatened by the Ren, and their damage, as you can see, high.
Yep, Mountain Drake, Infernal Drake, I mean, this is going down extraordinarily quickly. Canyon needs to try and get in there, does get into the pit, but it's a little bit too early, and the Rend is going to do enough damage. Khan keeping everyone busy as SKT now with the Baron buff looking to try and win a team fight. Khan is going to go down to start this one off, but there's the Tahm Kench. He's going to pop in the back line. Final Spark lands. Nuclear, very, very healthy and does have a gigantic shield. DAMWON getting themselves out of the way, but they're on the wrong side of the map. And SKT get an inroad towards this outer turret. They'll finally take it. Inner should definitely follow before they reset.
First look at the Baron. It explodes, and with the Baron buff, Clid knows to tank up the first few hits before the minion wave comes. They're going to get probably at least an inhibitor here, Atlas.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. Okay, going to waste a little bit of time before the back comes in from Nuclear, so he's not going to be there. This minion wave all Baroned up, ready to go. That inhibitor, like you say, is going to go down. So I was expecting more reserved play, but rightly said, Papa Smithy. Inhibitor going to go down. Nuguri not able to get back to that turret in time to clear out the wave.
SKT taking care of business. If the Karma's in the side lane and not grouped, it's so much harder to walk up on this Baron. If you have an AoE shield, a movement speed, you get there earlier. Canyon gets in the pit, but Rend around 920 seems to be the pickup here. So I'm happy he knows the damage numbers. We saw a lot of people after the Rend changes botch the Rends, but that one on point. Able to turn, and in the 3v4, there's actually a couple of 3v4s that you might win because of how much shielding and movement speed Karma can provide, but probably not with the item position the Ezreal is at, so they back away. They don't take maximum casualties, but now not even the Baron Rush is an option for the side of DAMWON Gaming, and Karma's side lane, which is usually at least pressure, doesn't pressure super minions very much at all.
And I feel like the Ezreal's just really standing out to me as something that doesn't benefit from things like the Ardent Sensor and the Zinx Convergence as much as something like a Sivir could have, something that does rely a little bit more on these auto attacks and getting behind it, and that's why the late game just feels so dire for DAMWON. You understand exactly why they picked it, right? That mid-game 2-item spike that you've been talking about all game. But I don't know, man.
Ezreal behind the item curve with cheap items, you're right, doesn't work. That's not what they picked for. They picked to play elsewhere and go even, but on time in the bot lane. And when that fell apart, you're right, the combat mechanics are kind of gone. Outside of just a godly team fight, if they lose that on this one, the game could just end. So Baron buff still a minute, 3,500 gold already banked on this Baron buff push. DAMWON Gaming trims some waves. That Infernal we talked about, the 34-minute mark, the 33-minute mark, it's coming now.
Yep, Faker probably just going to join his Sand Soldiers over that wall, setting himself up here just to make sure that DAMWON doesn't try and rotate over. Faker looking to kill this dragon on this side. DAMWON will move over, they're on wards, and that means SKT will get a free inhibitor. And they're happy to give up something like an Infernal Drake in order to get it. As hi BeryL, welcome to the team. He has to go into his stopwatch. Grey health is going to get eaten. Does buy some time as Faker lands the ultimate onto Nuguri, and he's going to instantly fall down. The Catfish follows. Fate's calls there. That's a nice knock-up to land onto Canyon, who has no options. Does look for Martyr, and ShowMaker finishes off that kill, but that is all they're going to get, and SKT will waltz into the base and look to finish off game number 1. This game was close the whole way through when it came to gold, but honestly it looked like it was almost over at level 2 on the bottom side of the map. DAMWON, a lot of things to change moving into game number 2.
SKT in full control at all times of game number 1. The game timer might not make everyone